Welcome to Top to Bottom Male Romance Podcast, where we celebrate all things male romance. I am Jessica.
And I'm Markie.
And this is our May Bottom episode.
Yeah. Real fast before we get into all the fun, awesome things that we have to talk about today, I wanted to remind everyone that we do have a Patreon set up. All of our Patreons are able to get access to early information when we have it to give. As in, if we have a heads up about an author who we're going to be bringing on, our patrons get to submit author questions. So if you haven't had a chance to go check out our Patreon, make sure to do that. We also have reader groups set up on Facebook and Goodreads, where you can jump in and talk about our bottom picks of the month or whatever book that you're obsessing about right now, a good movie that you've seen, comic book series that you just picked up, anything related to male romance or general silliness, you can jump in and talk to us about it. We definitely encourage it.
And also don't forget, if you have a chance to go and leave us a review on whatever you're listening to us on, whether that be iTunes or Spotify or whatever it is you do, because that helps us get visibility so more people can find us if they're interested in male romance.
Absolutely. So to recap, our bottom pick for the month of May was Sinister Hunger by Katze Snow. And we got a chance to talk to her in our previous episode. So if you haven't had a chance to go listen to that, make sure you do that. She was really fun to have on the show. We had a blast talking to her about her works and everything like that. So definitely check it out.
And we always do a giveaway for our bottom picks. And so that was no different for this month. We had our winner was Charlotte R. So keep an eye out on your inbox. We'll be sending you a digital copy of Sinister Hunger.
Yeah. We are going to be discussing Sinister Hunger. Before we do, something that we were kind of chatting about earlier today that we had to refrain from getting too deep into because we wanted to talk about it on the podcast were some of the trends that we're kind of seeing in male romance, or just like general thoughts about watching trends as they happen. So one of the things that I've noticed personally, and just as a quick aside, this might just be my own personal algorithms on Facebook or who I follow and people like groups that I'm in and stuff like that. But a trend that I'm starting to see is something called puppy play, which is like a form of BDSM that is really very much centered on dominant and submissive, but kind of in an extreme way. Like from the book covers that I'm seeing and blurbs, and when I did a safe search Google on what it is, it's kind of interesting because I guess the submissive in the relationship takes they're a puppy, like as what the name alludes to. They wear like leather puppy ears and like a muzzle, and they really take on this dog persona, like not like they're actually a dog, but like they're really submissive. They have to walk on all fours, and
not in a gross way, but in a cute way.
yeah. I was like, I don't want to. It's not gross, or anything like that. It's something I've never seen before. So I don't know. It was interesting, and I couldn't help but be drawn to it in like a fascinating kind of way, because I was like, what is this? And why are so many people? Why is this a thing that people are asking for now? This is so interesting. So I don't know. I wanted to bring it up and talk about trends and watching things rise and fall. And I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, you're way more active on social media in general than I am. I mean, I'm there and I look and I follow some things. I follow authors and I've got some male romance groups I follow, but it's definitely not near as much as what you follow. So I don't get quite as much of random kind of stuff. Almost everything that follows in my queue are authors I've already read or other, things that have already been on my radar. So I don't really kind of see a lot of the up and comings. I do know that there was a pocket of impreg there for a while that I was seeing, but that's really the only thing that's kind of outside my realm of things I normally read that I really noticed. And maybe it's just because every time I would see that, I have nothing against impreg. I just haven't read it, and I'm still little
exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah, like nothing wrong with it, and more power to anybody who absolutely loves it. It's probably great. I haven't jumped into that at all, and that's probably the only thing that's like outside my normal realm of reading that has shown up on my feeds as far as like something that I noticed is trending. But I've noticed a little bit less of that lately. I don't know if it's because more of my algorithms are just following. Oh, well, you clearly like Jack Lane, and you clearly like it's just like it's showing me what it knows I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know how. Like, is it that maybe a really popular book or a really popular author comes out with something that's kind of a not so often brought up thing. And then everybody's like, well, that's amazing. Here's my take on that. Not in a copycat way, but like that same, I'm going to make this my own kind of way. And then you just all of a sudden have an influx of it. I mean, these authors crank out books so quickly that it really seems like it's probably pretty easy to follow trends if you wanted to kind of dabble in whatever's new.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of authors, like if they see something slowly kind of ticking up there and it's something they're at least remotely interested in, I would imagine they're going to be like, well, hell yeah, like that's what people are picking up right now. The smart business thing to do would be to write that genre if it's something that they enjoy. It is really interesting. And because of the podcast, I've kind of reached out to all these different groups and I make friends with all like different authors and reader bases and stuff like that because we just dove super headfirst into this genre in general. It's interesting because I had never even seen most of this stuff until we started really getting into it. And I kind of backpedaling on the impreg thing. The impreg is within an Omegaverse territory. I think they usually go hand in hand. And I've read Omegaverse stuff before, and that's the alpha, beta, and omega kind of stuff where alphas are like, as the name gives away, like super manly, in charge, kind of almost have a power over people. Betas are like they're second in command, and then omegas are on the completely opposite spectrum to where they're like the super submissives. And that stuff can be pretty like, I like power play kind of stuff. So that's pretty awesome. But I remember I picked up that type of book and that was the first time I heard about nodding too. And I think I texted you and was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on in this book because they keep talking about nodding. And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean?
Could you remind me what that is? Because I don't remember. I know you told me and I remember feeling shocked.
I'm not going to do it justice because to be super fair, I read that one. No, I think it was 2 books because it was a series that somebody was talking about. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. So I picked it up. And I read 2 books, barely understanding what was going on. But I think it has something to do with the Omegaverse rules as far as the whole shifter things, because they often are some type of werewolves or wear something badass. And I think that has something to do with the mating process. And I think something like comes out of their dick and like locks them to whoever they're having sex with, but I might be totally fucking that up. So heads up, might be wrong. But I remember there was a scene where this dude was about to finish in this Omega's mouth and his alpha had to be like, don't do that because if you like knot his throat, he can't breathe. So I was like, what is happening here? So, but it was still really hot. I read the 2 whole books and barely knew what was going on, but I was like, man, this is awesome. That's just how I roll.
Well, fair enough. So anybody listening, if you want to correct us on nodding.
Oh, please, God, if I am way off the mark, please message, leave a comment, message me. I don't care. And be like, no, honey, no. And just like explain this. I don't know. If it looks interesting and people are raving about it, I'll give it a shot. Impreg being the only thing I haven't just jumped into the kiddie pool, just because I think we're in the same ballpark as Gail as far as like, I read MM for a reason. Like that's not something males typically do. So I think, at least for me, I have a knee-jerk reaction of like, I don't think I want that. But at the same time, I didn't think I wanted Omegaverse stuff, and that shit's awesome. So, I mean, who knows, right?
Well, to be fair, I don't really like reading. I don't like kids, and I don't. Yeah. I'll read things that have families in them, and that's fine. And I a lot of times will love that. But like, I don't having that as like the focus of it as somebody bearing and then having and then raising a child. Like that's not something that I'm drawn to. And I think that even if that has very little to do with what those books are about, I think that's why they haven't quite made it onto my to read list. I really feel like I should read some of it so I can experience it because I've surprised myself in the past. And really what it comes down to, and I've said it a million times, if there's good characters, it almost doesn't matter what else is going on. So I'm probably not giving it as much of a chance as I should. So that's another thing. If you guys have some really good impreg recommendations, like really solid characters, really good plot, let me know and I will read them and I will tell you what I think.
Yeah, I was about to say, if anybody has good recommendations as far as maybe a beginner book for that, like we talked in previous episodes about if you were getting a friend into MM romance, what would you recommend starting with and stuff like that. So if there's a good impreg book that you guys would recommend that maybe doesn't like, I don't know, maybe segues you into it easy or something. Maybe
even if it doesn't seriously though, if it's freaking amazing characters, I don't care how off the cuff it is.
Yeah,
give me good characters and I'll read it. So really good impreg book. Recommend, please.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. And, if we get some really good recommendations, we may have to just give it a shot. So I mean, I'll go for it. So, but
fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, back on the original topic before we just went off on a tangent about impreg, watching trends in the community is really interesting. And it's hard to guess what's going to be the next thing that people fall in love with, because it seems like for a little while there was a little bit of a surge of like merman, but that died faster than I feel like it should have. And shifters are always cool. Or you'll see, cop dramas get popular again for like little stints. I love being in...
Okay.
Huh?
I'm sorry. I know you said cop drama.
Oh,
I heard cop drama. And I was like, what is that? Because I bet I'm like...
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Did you just... I feel like this should be a thing, and I want to make it a thing. What would cop drama be? Would that just be a gay drama? Like, what? I have so many questions.
Oh, well, if it's not a thing, we can make it a thing and we'll define it ourselves.
Okay. After we record this, another Google safe search may have to happen.
Dude, it's going to be about chickens. It's going to be a drama with chickens.
I mean, I guess that would be okay, but I'd much rather it be the other thing.
Oh my God. Chicken shifters. Oh. I'm sorry, you guys, we just got off of work, and I think the ridiculous level is probably up a little extra, a few more notches than normal. So sorry, not sorry. Enjoy.
Chicken shifters. We're quick to laugh, but I mean, there's some really solid books that have like bunny shifters, and I was the first one to be like, what? And then I read the blurb and was like, oh shit, now I gotta read this. It sounds great. So yeah,
I'm always up for like a different kind of shifter. Like I always, because there's so much lore that gets built into that. I've never seen, I mean, it might just be being rather selective, but I've never seen bad lore when it comes to shifters as far as something I've read. I'm sure it's out there, but like usually the lore behind it really makes it something. Right. So I think that's a really good segue.
God.
Speaking of not your normal shifters. So we've mentioned before, we're not going to make this a self-promotional tool kind of thing, but the day that this podcast drops is the day that Markie's first book comes out.
Yeah.
So it's under her pen name, Masmatics. Markie, tell us what the name of your book is.
It's called Heartache and Hoofbeats. It's Stallion Ridge #1, and it is about a centaur shifter sheriff in an old Western style town, and he has to take down a notorious Iron Bandit troop that comes through trying to rob a train near Stallion Ridge.
Maybe gang. Maybe gang instead of troop.
It's better than troop. I'm thinking like
performing bandits.
Oh my God, that would have been
one
great.
book at a time. One book at a time.
So yeah, it's about
remember that for later.
Yeah, right. It's a spoof short story where they're all sing, and it's great. But anyway, yes, so it's about Centaur Sheriff who takes in one of the Iron Bandits who is a smartass, whiskey-eyed, handsome devil named Jesse, and it's great, and you should read it.
Aside from just, letting you guys know that she has a book out and you should go buy it, especially if you do it this week, it's only $1 before it goes up to normal price. So do that. We'll have a link. I'm sorry. She really didn't want me to do that, but I'm supporting my friend, so suck it. But the reason we really wanted to bring this up is, so this is still, even though she's published a book now, this is still a fan podcast. We are always going to do our book of the month where we're celebrating the books that we love to read and talking about the genre that we love. But this has really kind of given us both, especially Markie, but given us both a lot of insight into what the authors that we love and go through to put out the work that drives our passion for the genre.
Yeah, I will say it, and I feel like such an ass, but I thought it was going to be easier. Like I thought the hardest part was going to be writing the book, and that is so not true. Like that, it's hard work, of course, and there's a lot of drafts and editing and rewrites and thinking everything sucks, and then it's wonderful that it sucks. Like it's, the normal cadence of putting your brain into words and then throwing them up at a paper. But the real struggle is when we started having to look into costs for getting a cover made and how that works out. Like the artist who made the cover for Heartache and Hoofbeats is a good friend of mine, and she was patient enough with me that she didn't just slap me upside the head. She was like, well, what do you want for the cover? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, just do, like and I'm one of those people that I don't have an artistic vision for art like that, not in a digital sense. Like I can write, but if I had to draw or paint anything, it just like it's so out of my wheelhouse. So, having to sit down with an artist and plot things out like that, and then working with editors and beta readers and figuring out what the hell's an arc. I don't know, like just, stuff like that. It's grueling. And then marketing. I don't even know if I want to talk about marketing. It like upsets me. Like figuring out how to reach out with newsletters and promotional stuff, which isn't easy or cheap. I was surprised about how much money it took to self-publish a book. I can't even imagine if you went traditional, how expensive it is, So it's the people who I follow, the authors who we've had on the show, the future people who we're going to have on the show, anybody who's out there who we don't get a chance to have on the show or talk or whatever. I love you. Like, this is hard work. I can't even imagine. Like, I did one book, and this has been months of blood, sweat, and tears. But like fucking Sloan Kennedy will come out with one like every 2 months. I'm like, how are you not insane? I don't understand. Like, I don't know. That was my long ramble.
I think that's where the quote, "We're all mad here," comes in.
Yeah.
Fans and writers alike, we're all insane, and that's why we are in this tribe together.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, they're the authors that I talk to on a daily basis are just nuts, and I love them. So that's what did it. They're crazy because of this.
Yeah, even just listening to, you tell me, okay, well, I've got to get this ARC stuff set up, and I'm doing these Facebook group takeovers and this and that and the other, and you're like listing off all of these things that you're doing, and I'm not doing that, but you telling me is exhausting. Like, don't stop talking to me about it.
Yeah, no.
Not what I'm trying to say, but like just even the thought of everything that goes into that, like I like to write, and I've written some things, but I've never gotten to the point of publishing, and this has definitely made me think twice about that step, because there's just a lot of stress involved, and it really does. Just seeing you go through that has made me, I've always appreciated the authors and generally artists in general that I love and respect. Like, I love their work, and therefore I've always had that level of respect, but now it's just kind of gone that much deeper because I've gotten to witness more firsthand the kinds of things that they go through to provide their art for us. And it's amazing, which is why I'm the kind of asshole that has books in all three mediums. I'll have it in print, digital, and audio, like for the ones I can, because I not only like need all versions to subsist, I also like to support. So it's it makes me feel better about my ridiculous spending habits on books.
Yeah. At this point now, it's I will never bat an eye about spending money on self-published books ever again, because I'm like, I know now what all it took for this thing to happen. Whatever you want a hug, like, just seriously. So yeah, if buy everybody's books and give them mad props, and just love your favorite authors, guys, because this shit's hard. So yeah, I'm
gonna have to like load you up with like a suitcase full of chocolate to distribute to everybody when you go to GRL.
I think we're gonna have to, because like the last year at GRL, the authors gave out so much cool like little gift bags for all their readers, because of course they love their readers, otherwise they wouldn't be there and they wouldn't be producing good stuff for people to read. But I think I need to make like author gift bags and be like, I know everybody's here buying your stuff, so we're clearly supporting you, but do you need some chocolate? Maybe a little bottle of wine, because man, gotta take this as a vacation, like your readers love you. Get some rest. I know you're tired.
That's an amazing idea.
Yeah. I'm only half kidding about that. I think we're going to have to put together some really awesome author swag for everybody. It'll be fun.
If we can't make it happen this year, because there's a lot going on this year, next year when I get to go with you, we'll like take an Uber to a grocery store or whatever and like just make gift bags.
Yeah. I think we could get pretty fun with this.
Pin in that.
Yes.
So we've been rambling for a while. I think it's time we talk about our bottom.
Yes.
Well, I was going to say, so for this month, again, to reiterate, we did read Sinister Hunger by Katze Snow that came out last month. And yeah, what'd you think?
I really enjoyed it. I'm already a fan of Katze's work from her past dark stuff that I've read. So going into this one, I knew it was going to be more of that. So I was already pretty excited. And like we had brought up in her interview, the world building was fantastic, but I really, really enjoyed the dynamic between Maddox and Vincent, because again, I like the power play stuff. Maddox is like super ultra alpha vampire and is real quick to put Vincent in his place. And I thought it was very sexy. So, and I after I finished the book, I sent Katze a message. I was like, why do you keep making me have crushes on really fucked up men? And she was just like, LOL. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's definitely, definitely dark and gritty, but that's her style. She wasn't shy about the fight scenes were badass and had spoilers, like spines getting ripped out and shit. It was fun.
If people don't realize by now, when we're talking about our bottoms, there will be spoilers.
Yeah.
So from here on out, spoilers.
Yeah.
So I still stand by my favorite thing about this is the world. I'm really, really fascinated with what she has done with this, with the sanctuary cities and talking about the collapse of the economy and how everybody's living right now. And then how the sanctuary city is like this place of like luxury and everything else is barren wasteland where nothing can survive practically. And there's 7 of these sanctuary cities, like 1 in each continent. And you kind of find out midway through the book, even though you kind of already know, all of these sanctuary cities are run by a governor, and these governors are firstborn vampires. And that doesn't seem to be widely known because our main character, or one of our main characters, Vincent, was woefully confused.
Yeah.
So, but it's super fascinating. I'm really, really interested in how she came to do that. I don't read a lot of post-apocalyptic stuff, not by design, just because there's not as much in the genres I tend to read that's post-apocalyptic, and I really enjoyed that. Back to talking about Maddox Kane. So tell me he's not an evil Geralt.
Oh my God. Why did you put that in my fucking brain?
That's who I was picturing. He was totally... So if you haven't played The Witcher, Geralt is this character from this game called The Witcher, and he is a sexy, sexy man with long silver hair. And this is how I pictured our main character villain thing, guy, person, vampire. That's... I don't have like a really like firm picture of Vincent in my head.
Yeah, I think she's posted pictures because she has like muse pictures about what her characters look like and stuff. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I think she did post a picture of Geralt at one point. And now I just feel silly. But yeah, no, that's spot on. That's now what he looks like in my brain, which you've made it worse.
Yeah. So I don't tend to... I tend to shy away from the non-consent stuff. There's always exceptions to that rule. I will say that if you didn't read this and you're still listening, even though we told you there were spoilers, first, you're silly, they're spoilers. But second, if you have a hard time with the non-consent, this one may not be for you, but there's 2 moments of it. And I feel like the first one, if you skip it, you're not like, it's not going to change your vision of the story at all. But the second one, you really do kind of need to see it because it's pretty impactful. And that one actually, strangely, didn't bother me as much because it was so pivotal to everything that was happening. And damn it, Katze, that cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You weren't.
I mean, she was not kidding. And she did warn us, so I knew it was coming. But
damn it.
And it also didn't help because she named him Yuri. So like in my head, he looked like Yuri from Yuri on Ice. So like the whole time I was like, doll. And then his head's in a box. I'm like, somewhere Victor's crying. You ruined my life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now Yurio can now succeed. I mean,
no,
wait, what?
Jess, false.
I'm sorry.
We'll fight.
I'm sorry. That's another show. Yeah, fantastic world building, really interesting characters, lots going on. Like there's never a dull moment for sure. Oh man, we didn't even talk about this like in person with each other. And it's probably good because we tend to waste a lot of our podcast conversation in person.
We get excited.
We do. So there's that scene where Maddox's sister is there and it's like a circus tent.
Oh yeah.
So circuses and carnivals are like some of my favorite things on the planet. Like I love and adore anything that has to do with that. So that was kind of fun. I mean, there's a lot of screwed up stuff happening in that tent, but it was like this nightmarish circus carnival with vampires and shit. So that was a highlight for me. That was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forgot about that. Because I had made note of that when I was reading it, and I was like, "Ooh, Jessica like this,
dude." And like that moment where like the way she described the vampire like slithering down her web of silk or whatever was super cool. And I was like, ooh, shit. I don't know. It was a really cool visual moment, like making her into a spider and then she like latches on. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I like the politics between the vampires. Like I'm very curious to see how that plays out and how the hierarchy goes and everything like that. So it's good shit. I really like this book, and I think the series is going to be really badass. And she had mentioned on her Facebook recently that she's going to be knocking them out. She's got like a schedule set. She's going to be releasing books like every like couple weeks. So she's not messing around. So hopefully,
luckily,
go ahead.
Well, she said that this one, the sequel to this one, the next one is going to be hopefully coming out in July. So not too long of a wait. So we can see what the hell happens next, Katze. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all of our bottom talk. Let's see. Did we have anything else we wanted to discuss?
No, I think that's pretty much it. We do have next week for our top episode, we got a chance to sit down and talk with Sloane Kennedy, and that was awesome. So make sure you check in for that. Don't forget to go and check out Markie's book under Mathematics called Heartache and Hoofbeats, and it's awesome. So go read it. And yeah.
As a side, I don't know how I got through the entire Sloane Kennedy interview without me just squealing like an idiot. Because do you remember me talking about going to GRL? And I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, so I'm about to just embarrass shit out of myself. But like, I saw Sloane like hanging out at GRL, and she's super approachable, super nice person. But I had to like talk myself into going over to talk to her because like I had just gotten through all of her books, all of them that exist. Like I'd read all of them up to that point. I just was so excited to just go say hi that I had to pep talk myself for like 10 minutes. So then when we reached out to her for an interview and she said, yeah, no problem. I was just like, holy shit. So yeah, it was really exciting to be able to have her on the show and talk to her. And it's a great interview. So I look forward to sharing it with everybody.
Yeah, it was a really good talk. So that'll be fun. And to be fair, I still freak out when we talk to any of these authors.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's like everybody that we have on the show, and like Katze's the same way. I've been talking to Katze for a year. And when she was like, yeah, I'll be on the show, I'm like, holy shit. Like it's cool. Every time that they say, yeah, it's like the coolest thing. Like we have freaking Ellen Frake on the podcast, and she's a superstar. Like I don't know how we don't have a panic attack every time we talk to somebody.
I'll never forget that first time for our first interview ever. You're like, oh, one of your favorite authors of all freaking time is going to be our first interview, Miss Gail Carriger. Yeah. I still like get giddy over that. So yeah.
Every time she likes one of our posts, we giggle about it for like 2 days.
Yep.
We're ridiculous. We freaking love all of our authors. Like everybody who's been on the show and everyone who we will have on the show in the future. We love you. You're the best.
All right. I guess that wraps us up for our May Bottom episode. Check in with us next week to hear us talk to the amazing Sloane Kennedy.
Yeah. We'll see you then.
Bye.